No, this didn't come out very well, but it's edible. We had some of the other last night, shouldn't have done, and it was edible. It's quite nice actually, but it just didn't look good. So shutters are back, all matching, which is good. They've just got to do those top windows, which they'll do soon. Not sure when, because we've got people coming next week. And the carved door is done, and the shutter on the carve is done. And I'm not going to walk around there, but the shutters at the end are done. I'm in Mark's bunker. I sat outside and made a vlog the other day, and he was in bed, and I hadn't realised that that I disturbed him. So he's in bed now, so I don't want to disturb him. So I thought I'd better not sit outside, even though it's lovely out there still. The temperature's still quite pleasant. I thought I'd better come in out of the way, and I'm even in another room so he doesn't get disturbed. I'm not underneath him. So yeah, we've got the shutters back. I've got a doctor's appointment in a couple of hours, which was a bit of a shock really. I only rung 10 minutes ago. My throat's coming back, and my normal process is to not ignore, because I can't ignore it because it's uncomfortable, it's sore, and it's yeah. But my process is, I'll leave it a bit longer, it'll go, and it doesn't. And then by the time I do get to the doctors, I'm in a worse state than I am now, as was happened last time. And there's obviously a problem, because it's the same thing. I don't know, it's as if I got something very tiny fragment of something caught up there at the bottom of the eustachian tubes, and he won't be able to see it. I can feel it, but I think I'm going to need a referral for an ENT appointment, which will take forever to get anyway. But I looked online to see if I could make an appointment, but there wasn't one until Tuesday, by which time I've gone. It's only Thursday. I would have gone 4 more days, and may have a raging bacterial infection again, which is what I had last time. So I need to nip it in the bud, go and see him, and see what I can do. So I'm going to do that. Mark's going to have to stay here because we're expecting a delivery, a DPD delivery, and we're also got a wood delivery this afternoon. There isn't any art. I thought there was going to be art, but there isn't until the 21st, so we've got a couple of weeks yet, which is nice, although I'm missing everybody. But it's still nice to sort of not have to decide what I'm going to paint, or I'm going to do I'm definitely going to do a pastel. I love doing pastels. So I'm definitely going to do a pastel, but I don't know what yet. So yeah, a bit of a well, it's not a relaxing day because I'm going to the doctors, but I'm pleased that I rang, and that's that's me being what I agreed I would be when I had my therapy, is that I would not devalue my needs, and that I would go and do something about my needs. Because this leg that I injured a couple of months back, I think I definitely chipped a bone, or definitely did something because of the pattern of bruising, and ignored it. And I shouldn't ignore my needs, so that's why I've made a doctor's appointment. I felt like I was bread making all day yesterday. I probably said that in the last vlog. I sat down with Mark at, I don't know, just after 9 o'clock to watch. We're watching The Woman in the Wall. I sat down to watch that with him, and then suddenly realised I needed to do something else, so got up and did that. And I went, I've been up and down doing that all day. I mean, it's a good job I've got all the energy to do that now, because I didn't used to have. That I can remember way back when we used to make chutney, I used to make jam, and it just went on forever. And constantly waiting, pot watching to see if it had reached setting point, and making sure the jars were sterilised, and constant up and down. So I'm quite pleased I have the energy for that now. I didn't used to. So yeah, so got the doctors later. I changed. Whilst I was up there saying to Mark, I'm going to the doctor's, I changed my top because I'd been cooking in it yesterday and it was full of stains. And I've just looked at this, it's got marks on it that haven't come out. You know, that you need to pre treat stuff or spray it, and I don't. I just shove it all in the washing machine and wash it and then take it out. And um, I needed to have pre treated it really, but never mind. It's no big deal. I'm not proud. Is that the right word? I'm not precious. That's the word. I'm not precious. It was something that I was thinking about that I was going to vlog, and I'm going to have to pause you whilst I refresh. I remembered now. I'm reading a book by Dr. Amir Khan, well, it's Prof actually, Prof Amir Khan, called The Doctor Will See You Now. And there's a chapter on death that I've just been reading, and in it he talks about, I can't remember who it was that he was citing, but he was talking about how important it is when talking about death that you use the word dead. And um, it gives clarity to the people um, who the death has impacted on. It gives clarity and ending, because a lot of people use the term passing, has passed, or there's other terms, but I don't, because I don't use them, I can't remember them. But I always talk about, if I'm talking about death, I always talk about dead, dying, etc. Um, I think probably from my psychotherapy days that I understand how important words are and how important it is to be real and not skirt around a subject. So yeah, so he's talking about that, and I remember I'm remembering back several years ago now, because I was we had, when I was working, and because there's a lot of sort of, is it hysteria? I can't remember now, or magical thinking around the power of certain things. And when I was working, when I was managing the nursing home in Devon, I one of our residents had died, and I went and collected his ashes, and it was a big heavy pot of ashes, and I carried him around in my car for several days before we worked out where we were going to scatter his ashes. And I was playing Mamas and Papas in the car, and oh, what was it? The other one? Oh, the Beach Boys, because that would have been his era. And I mean, that's a bit magical thinking, isn't it? Sort of, you know, playing tunes for the ashes. But I can remember the day that we had decided where we were going to put the ashes, and um, the administrator working at the nursing home got quite freaked out when I brought the ashes in. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, it's just a pot of ashes. Got quite freaked out. And then later on here in France, I would talk about Mark, and if if it were Mark that went before me, um, I talked about how I would keep his ashes in the house or put him on the patio or whatever, and talk to him, um, because that's the only way I can keep him with me, I suppose. Which for many people would sound really morbid, but it didn't seem morbid to me. And I was horrified to discover, and I don't know whether anything's changed, but I was horrified to discover that actually you can't have, after the enterrement, you don't get, or the, what do they call it? We joke about it because the word, when it's translated, it is after the incineration. Um, you don't get custody of your ashes, which it was like, but they're mine. That you don't get custody of them, and that, I think it. I don't know how long the law's been around for, but it's to do with to stop people fighting over ashes, to stop all of that argument about, well, I want that and who's that, all of that. It's to stop that. So I was really disappointed to discover that. And whilst I'm on the subject, and this might really be difficult for people, I'm sure it is. I will probably put a trigger warning thing in the title. When my dad died, my sister was living in the house that they lived in, mum and dad had lived in, and she put dad's ashes in the garden. And later on, when mum died, she went to put mum's ashes next to dad's ashes. And as fast as she was digging, it looks like dad's ashes were still there and they were all pouring in together, which was quite nice, really. But I think she was quite shocked. I mean, this was several years later. I think dad died in 2011 and mum died in 2016. So 5 years on, and the ashes were still there underground. So they got mixed up together by the time they were put there. And then she moved away from the house. She actually went back to put mum's ashes there. The people that bought the house gave permission for mum's ashes to go there. Well, I think it's a shame, if you put, and I suppose that's probably why in France it's like you don't get to have the ashes, because things change, don't they? Viv's moved now, and that house has got, that garden's got dad and mum's ashes in it, but I can't go and, I mean, Viv could. I think she could go and visit if she wanted to. I don't think she needs or wants to now, but and I suppose I could if I really wanted to, but I don't feel the need. But if they had been put somewhere in like a public crematorium or somewhere, then you could go and spend time reflecting around that area and, pondering and being quiet around the space that the ashes are in. But for me, for me, dead is final. Death is final. I don't see anything beyond that, and a lot of people have lots of different thoughts about what happens after death, and I don't think anything does personally. Mark has a different idea to me, but I just think that's it. Dead is dead, is done. Bit of a heathen, really, I suppose. There's all those people that believe in the soul leaving the body and all of that stuff, and I don't. But then I guess that's because that's part of being an atheist, is this is how it is. So yeah, I will do a trigger warning because this might not be comfortable for some people. And as normal, this bit of my discussion is at the end of my vlog, which is just typical. It's how I get into where I'm going to be and what I'm going to be talking about. And there's people that don't like that, and tough. Going to show you something now. Mark bought that print when we were in Canada. We were in a sort of a shop, sort of a souvenir-y place where all of the goods in there were made by First Nations people. I liked that. I really liked that. It was difficult to find a frame that it would fit in, though, because it's oblong. But that's nice. Anyway, hope you're having a nice day. And I'll see you in another vlog. That's if I'm not dead. Sorry.